what is it about stopping climate change that is linked to protecting indigenous land and rights? And how can we actually, is that more than just that'd be nice if we could? How can we actually do that? How do you see that actually playing out?
Well, I think what people need to understand is that, you don't just get to this point where you have these corporations and individual families who have incredible resources, like Elon Musk kind of resources, where they literally can get in a dick waving contest with other billionaires to fly to the moon when there's world hunger and climate change and COVID and economic recession, right? Yeah, like we're at a moment in time right now where we have incredible opportunity to change our relationship, to reevaluate and change our relationship with Mother Earth, spaceship home, whatever you want to call it from your world.
Spaceship home. I like that. Never even heard it, but I like it.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is that climate change and indigenous traditional ecological knowledge are inextricably linked in terms of like, how do we move forward? And when people like who know me, they know I'm a pipeline fighter, a land defender, a water protector. We're trying to stop the world's largest industrial project in the history of humankind, the tar sands in Alberta. You can see this shit from outer space. It's so big. Third largest petroleum reserve of unconventional oil, which means dirtier as far as carbon dioxide.
And there was a victory in that fight. When it comes to Keystone XL, the victory that you and I know Joshua Kahn Russell, shout out to him, were integral to.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like Keystone XL, many people know about that fight because it was very high profile. But there was a half a dozen tar sands pipelines, proposed, and there's some big fights right now. Line 5 Enbridge, across the Great Lakes. Line 3 is a battle that's waging. Joseph Biden talked about, and showed incredible leadership upon his election with some of the, the presidential orders, including, reversing Trump's order on approving Keystone XL. They put out this infrastructure bill and had a ton of, amazing things in there about, solving the climate crisis. And there was a lot of environmental justice stuff in there. Mm-hmm. But then he turned around and approved Line 3, which is this tar sands pipeline that will like almost double the size of Canada's tar sands. And so, people need to understand how political this shit is and like understand that we've all got to do a little bit more than changing light bulbs or buying an EV car. That stuff's important, but that, if you read the reports about how Exxon manipulated climate science since the frickin' 70s and before, like since the 50s, essentially, part of that agenda was to dupe individual citizens into believing that this is on you, when in reality it's on the military-industrial complex, or fossil fuel-centered agricultural complex, or fossil fuel transport economy, whether it's trucks or big ships or whatever.
Thanks, Al Gore. That was the worst part. I'm sorry. Let's all agree that was the fucking worst part of Inconvenient Truth. Was like after this whole treatise on like climate change, then like the postscript where there's like the credits are running and like change your light bulbs to like whatever incandescent or whatever the hell they are. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't change mine. I have an ugly light bulb. I'm mad about it because I'm like, I know this is better for the environment. It's disgusting light. The point is that was terrible. Yeah, that's terrible. And it was just it was such a letdown. It was like, and you're right that really did. It had a huge impact on how people in North America viewed and Europe viewed like their role. It's not, we got to go to war against these companies. It's, I got to go to war against myself and me being a terrible person for having a straw and whatever, like, which arguably the right makes fun of. And it's like, because the actual real badass answer is we got to change this entire fossil fuel capitalist structure right now.
Well, that was the point I wanted to make, is that capitalism is the actual problem. Tar sands, plastics, petroleum-based pharmaceuticals, the petrochemical industry, like all that stuff are symptoms of the problem. The pollution impacts and health impacts, treaty rights and human rights impacts that they create are all part of the problem. And what the problem is capitalism. And what is the solution is, some people are calling it the Green New Deal. Here in Canada, we're calling it the Just Transition Act. You know, we're calling for this massive government intervention to create millions of jobs that leaves no worker behind. That's a partnership with indigenous peoples and, you know, workers and communities who are most impacted by the transition off of fossil fuels. And all the while we're fighting towards an election here coming this late summer. Canada's on fire. We have thousands and thousands of wildfires in the most important carbon sink on the planet, which makes up almost, I think, like a sixth country, the boreal forest, and it's on fire. And, you know, our government is still subsidizing fossil fuel. They're still bought a pipeline. Justin Trudeau is still in the pocket of big oil companies instead of creating millions and millions of jobs to transition our economy to this new economic paradigm. You know,
You know what's interesting to me is, like, you know how back in the day, like even just 15 years ago, people will be like, well, we'll have to transition to alternative energy because we will reach peak oil and there will be no more oil. The end. And it's like, no, motherfucker. First of all, we will fight like world wars over that oil and have, number one, until it's all gone. Number two, we're not reaching peak oil. And I think the other part about it is that all these all of the people that did this ignored the science, that fomented the destruction that we're seeing, are still living to see it, which is it's like amazing. So, you know, heat wave in the Pacific Northwest, wildfire season already in California, flooding in Europe, flooding in New York. The record temperatures in Canada are just insane. Like when Canada gets that hot, we're like, oh shit. Like there's like fires in Siberia right now.
48 degrees in Siberia the other day.
So what I love about I hate this. Obviously, I hate it. Everything's bad. But like what I love about it is that like these fools haven't blasted off to Mars yet. They have to sit here and look at what they've actually done. And the climate emergency, as Greta Thunberg and yourself and everyone else who's right says, is like, it's here. It is here. So we have to deal with it now. You cannot punt this football. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.